Today's show is presented by Magic Spoon. $5 off your first order of tasty cereal that's actually healthy for you when you use the URL you see on screen. MagicSpoon.com/Cowboys. Tastes like the one you grew up with, but is actually good for you with no sugar. All right, from Elmatic7, is the defense being overhyped? Blame Vach Lombardi. I'm not blaming anybody, okay? Look, I think at some level as fans, we do it, I do it too, same thing every offseason, especially here in June, July when there's nothing going on. It's really easy to talk yourself into, well, if this and this and this happens, defense is fixed. Last year it was, hey, if Trevon Diggs comes along, if Dontari Poe helps stop the run, defense is going to be better. Hey, new coordinator, it's going to be better. And those things didn't end up happening. So I think the defense will be better. I am dialing in my expectations of, hey, you know what? If I can get to league average, I'm going to be hyped. From Daily Dose of Highlights, do you think Osa Odighizuwa will start? That is the Cowboys rookie defensive tackle out of UCLA. I don't know if he starts week 1, but I do think it matters that the Cowboys drafted him with a new defensive coordinator and D-line coach in charge. They have a plan for Osa Odighizuwa that, you know what, might not be the same one for Neville Gallimore or Tristan Hill. So is he the number 1 DT in year 1? Probably asking too much, but I think there will be a role for him this year. Chad Hansen, Jourdan Lewis was at his best, and he was antagonizing Dez Bryant in training camp his first year. I remember that. That was pretty funny. Lewis, of course, was one of my top off-season winners this year because he got paid by the Cowboys. I love that attitude, by the way, in my corner. In general, the defense needs more of that. The Cowboys' defense has been the soft boys the past couple of years. They need more attitude and more desire to just be like, you know what, we're going to trash talk, we're going to hit you hard, and we're going to force turnovers. None of that, we're going to sell sunglasses mindset. As a reminder, folks, $5 off your first order of Magic Spoon. Now, when we do our mailbags, the rules have been that you have to super chat to talk about it because producer Brett's mean. He also told me to stop talking about peanut butter, a.k.a. my favorite food. But I found a way around that, just like I did for talking safeties here on the Cowboys Report. It's Magic Spoon. The peanut butter cereal is fantastic. Super high in protein, 14 grams, by the way, and 0 sugars. And on top of that, it's not just peanut butter in case, you're not as big of a peanut butter fiend as I am. Tons of flavors. They're all delicious, and they're all healthy for you. $5 off your first order. MagicSpoon.com/Cowboys. We will have a clickable link for you guys in the comment section and in the description. From Food Review, Gallup and a second for Xavien Howard. I think the dual power of CD and Cooper is enough to hurt from the loss of Michael Gallup. Hopefully, Simi Fehoko steps up. So I appreciate your offer. It's a good offer value-wise of a good football player in the second round. I think Gallup's worth maybe a third at best. So a second and a third still might be a little bit light, but I think it's about right. The issue is Miami does not need a receiver. All right, they've paid Will Fuller for at least 1 year. They have Devontae Parker, and they drafted Jalen Waddle. So because of that, I don't see why Miami would accept that deal. Now, for the Patriots, Stephon Gilmore might be more in line there. Oh, speaking of Gilmore, if we end up needing a cornerback this year, should they trade for Xavien Howard, Stephon Gilmore, or sign a Richard Sherman? Look, it depends on what you need a cornerback for. If you need someone long-term, and you're like, do you think Joseph sucks, for example, well, then I would look at Xavien Howard. He's younger, also would be more expensive. If maybe in this scenario, Anthony Brown gets hurt, and you don't trust Kelvin Joseph or Nashon to step up immediately and be a starter, I would look at a stopgap option. And if he's still available, I think Sherman makes more sense to me. Gilmore is a nice backup to both, but he wants a new deal. So if you're adding a Gilmore or Howard, you have to pay them. And then what are you doing with Kelvin Joseph? If injuries strike, I think Sherman then might start to make the most sense. But if they're going to stick with Anthony Brown, the numbers game is real at the cornerback spot. So pick one for me. Which one would you rather go get if you're the Cowboys for whatever need you're trying to fill? Type SG for Stephon Gilmore, XH for Xavien Howard, or type RS for Richard Sherman. Get your votes in right now. Eugene Roberts III. Do you agree the Cowboys have a top 10 roster? A lot of this comes down to how you weight all the positions. Offensively, unquestionably, they have a top 10 roster. I don't trust that defense yet. Because of that, I put plenty of weight on defense. I think just outside of it. From James Castillo, how many yards will Dak throw for this year? If the defense is bad again, he is going to approach 5,000. I would rather have it come in under 5K because that means they ran the ball late in games, I think. But I think I would rather 5,000 might be a pretty decent over-under in the end. From the Rainbow Cow, as I now think this is Marshall, our Giants fan here at Chat Sports, his burner account. I'm yelling, Brett. Amari Cooper or Kenny Golladay? Amari Cooper. And this is not a dig against Kenny Golladay. I've seen a lot more success and consistency from Amari Cooper. Yeah, there's been some injury stuff with Cooper. Same with Golladay. So Galladay's a good football player, even though you misspelled his name, which is okay. It's Cooper for me, though. From Mista Bugatti, do you think Greg Zuerlein is the right kicker for the Cowboys? The right kicker, as I just can't remember a kicker question, producer Brett, how dare you? The right kicker is the chief kicker. Zuerlein's fine, whatever. As long as they're making the kicks, I don't care. Frankly, I would go for it every time. That's like my wild, hot NFL take. I would literally go for it in every scenario. I guess outside of like you're down by 1 with 1 second left, you got to get the field goal. That's fine. Sure, Zuerlein's the right kicker. Let's check in at camp. If he sucks in camp, make a change. But there's no competition for him right now. Those of you who have been subscribed to the Cowboys Report know that I don't value kickers or punters very highly. Just the way that I am. If you want more Cowboys coverage, though, hit that big red button and subscribe. YouTube.com/CowboysTV. We've got videos coming out every single day around the Dallas Cowboys. From Dee Goat, why did the Cowboys get fined? They got fined for some OTA violations. They lost $100,000. They lost for the owner, $50,000 for Mike McCarthy, and they were forced to forfeit 1 OTA practice next offseason. That's actually the lesser of the 3 punishments between the Cowboys, Jags, and 49ers, so it's not that bad. From Brokov, if Lamb takes a step forward and Fehoko looks good, but tight end play is weak, would you trade Coop and a second for Kittle and a third at the deadline? I would trade Amari Cooper and a second for George Kittle and a third right now. There's zero chance the Niners would do that. George Kittle is arguably the best tight end in the NFL. There's no way San Francisco would actually do that. X2 Pro Skills. Will the Cowboys sign any more significant free agents before the start of the year? Probably not. Never say never, right? But the Cowboys haven't freed up the cap space that they could. They are at the roster limit, I believe, right now, or at least close enough to it. And they want to see what the young guys can do. Now, if there are injuries or if somebody sucks, maybe that changes. But right now, frankly, I lean towards no, that's not going to be the case. This one, I am almost worried to see the answers here. But what year will the Cowboys win the Super Bowl next? It's probably not going to be 2021. That's just not going to happen. But what year will the Cowboys finally snap their losing streak and go win another championship? Get your votes in right now. And a punter question today. Wow, what a mailbag. Punters are people too. It's up for debate. Who is going to be the punter? Hunter Nicewander has been away from the team in OTAs and minicamps due to a high-risk pregnancy his wife has. And even before that, I thought it was going to be Brian Anger. Now, there will be a competition, okay, because they didn't guarantee Anger that much money. But if they loved Hunter Nicewander, they wouldn't have brought in a punter and guaranteed him anything. If it had been no guarantees, maybe that changes. I think it's Anger. But I want you guys to get your votes in here. Pick a punter for the first and maybe only time, I think, in Cowboys history. Get your votes in. Type in HN for Hunter Nicewander or type BA for Brian Anger. From Alan Williams II, I know the safety position is a Dallas weakness right now, but what safety looks great to you, Tom? Do you mean like on the roster? Because if so, I am very pleased that DeMonte Casey is already back from his torn Achilles. If you mean like to go get somebody, the grass is always greener on the other side. Free agency-wise, honestly, I just bring in somebody for depth. I want Donovan Wilson to be great. I do. This camp kind of matters a lot for him to get back on the field, but I'm less worried now about the starters as I am about the depth. If there are injuries there, we're right back where we were last year at that position. In fact, frankly, even worse.